It is preview season here on Armchair Analysis, and today it's all about the LSU Tigers. Brian Kelly goes into another year. Can they finally break the LSU Week 1 streak? Talk about that number one portal class they brought in, what to expect from this team, and are they truly contenders to win the SEC? We'll cover all that and more, including a 12-game schedule prediction here on today's episode. If you're new around here, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of the upcoming show. If you're also new around here, there's a whole playlist of preview season videos. Playlist is titled as such, Preview Season 2025. We've covered everybody, starting with Florida State back on June 1st, all the way to today's video, or well, yesterday's video. If you're currently watching today's, you know this one exists. Yesterday's video, we covered Michigan. Excited to carry forward. It's been a lot of fun, and we're continuing to grow. As the time of me recording this, we were at 122 subscribers. Keep adding to it. Goal was 125 by the end of the month. I think we're going to blow that away. Let's try to go for 150. So again, if you're new, and we covered 365. Every single day of the year, there is something here on this channel, or at least that's the intention. Well, really Monday through Friday. There's something here on this channel. And even in the... well, I don't call it off season. I call it non-playing season or recruiting season, maybe at that time of year. We got a lot of seasons here on the channel, and maybe one day I'll explain them all to you. But right now it's preview season, so let's go ahead and talk about LSU. This team in 2024 went 9-4, 5-3. They won their bowl game against Baylor. This team averaged 30.5 points per game, allowed 24.3 per game. They were not necessarily exceptional at any point, but they were just good enough at times. They really struggled lacking a run game at times. Caden Durham kind of stepped up and took over it really from the South Carolina game on, but it was never great. It felt like I've heard it explained in some circles with LSU as if it was an offensive line of a lot of pro talent that kind of just worked as individual pro players and not a unit. And it showed at times. The offensive line struggled, allowing sacks, tackles for loss, just not providing the running lanes. There's more to be, I think, worked with and helped out here. And part of that just comes from the fact that there's not a lot of knowledge about these guys. The turnover margin, negative 0.3. A lot of that came from 12 interceptions last year thrown by Garrett Nussmeier. How does he step forward? How can he tone those down? I saw during the opening of SEC Media Days, he kind of talked about his intention to be a little more decisive and a little smarter with those decisions even, and kind of cutting those down. And he knows that some of those turnovers were a big deal. I mean, you look at the South Carolina game last year, I was in attendance for this game, and you kind of saw it there. A couple interceptions, one pick six, could have been two. I'm not going to say should have been. Could have been two pick sixes. The other one from Nicky Manwari was called back. Ultimately ended up being a game-changing penalty. But, you know, Nussmeier knows kind of and seemed very, very clear that he understands kind of what's at stake this year and what they have potential to be. They bring in a top 10 recruiting class. On top of that, a number one ranked portal class with 18 commitments. And they are excited down there in the Bayou, and they should be. They are a really solid football team coming back. Brian Kelly, of course, leading the charge. Joe Sloan leading the offense. Blake Baker covering the defense another year over there. And truth be told, I think it is only going to go up. They're kind of getting back to using Harold Perkins the right way. We'll talk more about that. But this is going to be a fun team to talk about. Offensively, they return 3 starters. Again, Joe Sloan going to be calling the plays again. Caden Durham and Caleb Jackson expected to be the 2 running backs. I'm excited for Caden Durham. I think that now that he's kind of got that role, what can he turn it into? How much better can he be than what he was last year? That's certainly to be determined. Nick Anderson of Oklahoma, or formerly of Oklahoma, comes in as a wide receiver in the portal. Barian Brown from Kentucky comes in as well. Aaron Anderson returns as a one of 3 returning starters, with Durham and Nussmeier counted in there. Well, I would count Durham in there. I don't think they did. At least the place that I got the information from. And then you got Xavier Thomas coming back, expected to be kind of another key piece to this offense. Trades Green expected to be the tight end, and then they have 1 returning starter along that offensive line. That was graded okay, especially in the passing game. They were graded 29th at a 71.6 pass blocking grade as a unit. Graded 58.7 in run blocking, which was 51st. And that's really where they struggled the most, was in their run blocking schemes and fits. How did they, again, kind of build off of that? Offense has a lot of potential. Of course, Garrett Nussmeier, Heisman Trophy contender from the beginning. A guy that everybody's expecting to be in New York. And how good can they be? Can he control those turnovers? Can he be the reliable guy? Obviously, he's been there and done that over the course of the last couple of years. But this year, again, there's a lot riding on it. Defensively, Blake Baker, again, returning as a defensive coordinator, and they're excited because he came over from Missouri and weren't sure exactly how good things could get in year 1. And they were not necessarily great. They allowed 5.7 yards per play. That was 80th in college football. Their points per game allowed, they stepped up when it mattered most. But there's a lot of things I think they want to get better with. Part of that is just simply things they did in the transfer portal. Jack Pyburn comes over from Florida. Patrick Payton comes over from Florida State. Mansour Delane comes over from Virginia Tech. Tamarcus Cooley comes over from North Carolina State. And then, of course, AJ Halsey comes over from Houston. I don't know how I missed that, by the way, in the Houston video. I'm sorry, Houston fans. I didn't mean to remind you that he was gone or make y'all remind me that he was gone. I know. It's opening a fresh wound. But my mistake. I don't know how I overlooked that one specifically. That's kind of a big one to miss. But it does happen. You cover 136 teams or attempt to as one person. Sometimes things happen. I'm sorry. But when we look at the leaders returning from this team, it's really the Whit Weeks show defensively. 125 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and 1 interception, 1 fumble forced. This team forced 6 interceptions, 15 forced fumbles. They're looking for more turnover opportunities. They're looking to kind of continue to build off of what was started last year. Again, the intention is to kind of move Harold Perkins back to his original spot and let him play more of a role from the middle of the field. At least that's the understanding I have picked up. I could be wrong, but that's what I've picked up from kind of what I've heard and read in LSU circles. As a whole, though, this team, I mean, they are expecting college football playoff, and it's playoff or bust. It might even be SEC championship or bust for this team because the schedule, while it's not light, it's not easy, it's not brutal either. I mean, you don't get anything from Georgia, you don't get Florida, or well, you do get Florida, but you get them at home. You get South Carolina at home, Texas A&M at home. Road trips with Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma. Really, I mean, to me, the toughest game on the schedule is the first one. You start off with a road trip to Clemson. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's not necessarily light. It's not the toughest. We've seen worse. Let's go ahead and predict 12 games here for the Tigers. Starts off with that week 1 game again against LSU. Or against Clemson, I'm sorry. And this is going to be a tough one. Clemson returns a lot, and they're not going to have to kind of figure out who's going to fit in where and how they're going to work. It's going to be immediate go for Garrett Riley and that Clemson offense. The defense is absolutely loaded, and Tom Allen is going to be aggressive, trying to set a tone early on in this season. I think Clemson's going to get the win. Just that home field advantage, I mean, they call both of them Death Valley. One of them's got to reign supreme, right? It doesn't mean anything in this one. I think Clemson gets the job done. You get a win over Louisiana Tech coming back home, and you stay at home, face Florida. It's going to be a tough one. DJ Lagway is expected to be really good, but I just think that all in all, the home field advantage, along with Garrett Nussmeier, the offense being, I think, improved this year, the defense improving as well themselves. I'm going to take LSU to get the win at home against Florida. Beat Southeastern Louisiana, a little bit of revenge from the college softball World Series or tournament, I suppose. And then you get a road trip with Ole Miss, and I think early in the season, this is where Ole Miss is still going to be a little bit of a question mark. How quick does Austin Simmons develop? How quick do they figure out how they're going to implement all of their portal guys? I know that's only week 5. They should have it figured out, but sometimes it takes a little longer than others. And, I'm kind of, I guess I've been informed that I'm not necessarily on the controversial side of my opinion with Ole Miss, but I certainly think it's going to take a little longer, and I don't think it's quite as talented of a portal class as it was last year. So, taking LSU to get the win there. They'll remain undefeated in conference play with a win over South Carolina. This game specifically, last year was so close. I think that this one, part of that was just the environment. Like I said, I was there last year in Columbia, and it was, borderline unbelievable how insane it was inside Williams-Brice Stadium. It was the first conference game I got to see from that stadium. I've been there now twice, I think. And the first one was for a non-conference game. It was a night game. It was a season opener. Jadeveon Clowney got his number put up in the rafters. Big deal. But this one was a whole nother level. I think that kind of changed the outcome of the game, along with, again, some other things. LSU doesn't really feel like they won that game. Obviously, the scoreboard says so. But as a team, they know what to expect now from South Carolina. It's going to be a fun one, for sure. That's a big-time matchup. You then get a road trip against Vanderbilt. Look, I think Vandy's still a good team and a team you can't sleep on at any point, but they'll get the win. Remain undefeated. Texas A&M is an interesting one. It's going before a bye week, but I think it's really just kind of how long you've been going this year. And there's been some tougher games. That Florida game, the Ole Miss game, South Carolina, even Vandy are going to be tough. And I think that is just going to kind of catch up with this LSU team here. It's hard to do this week in, week out, and be ready for every single game. I think they're going to fall to A&M, even at home. You get a bye week, come out of that thing against Alabama, who absolutely lit them up last year in Baton Rouge, and they want to bounce back. They want revenge for that one. And I think that's going to happen. I think they'll get the win, and simply it's just because I'm not buying into the Alabama offense. Defensively, sure, there's a lot to like, or at least a good amount to like. Offensively, I like Ryan Williams, I like Jam Miller, but the quarterback position is going to be a big deal and plays much of a factor in the Alabama season as it's going to play in Missouri season, really. How good can Ty Simpson be, or is it not going to be Ty Simpson? Is it going to be Keelan Russell or Austin Mack? Like, who's going to step in and be the quarterback? It's hard to say, and the way I feel about that is, who do I trust more? Certainly, it's the LSU offense and what they can create. So LSU gets a win. I think they'll beat Arkansas as well, and a win over Western Kentucky, leading to this final game on the road in Norman. And I think they're just more talented. This is obviously Nick Anderson's homecoming, or return, I guess, to Oklahoma, where he started his career. And I think that with all of that said, as much as I really like Oklahoma this year, I like LSU a little more. I think they're just a better team. They'll get the job done. Go 10-2, 7-1 in conference play. That should be good enough to go to Atlanta. I don't know for certain because I have not predicted all SEC teams, but that's kind of where I feel right now, and I'm pretty confident with that number as I look at it even today. So let me know. What did I not cover? Who may stand out a little bit more that I didn't cover in this video? could be a better player, let me know all that down below. I love it. I'm excited, and I thank you guys for tuning in and helping this thing grow. Like I said, the sense of community has been great, starting to kind of get more and more new faces in the comment section, and that's so fun because it really lets me kind of hear what other people think. I don't watch a lot of college football media, and what I do watch is stuff that gives me the information I need to make sure I'm, I guess, a little more correct. I don't like to repeat things that other people say, and so the less I watch of that, the less I feel like I do that. And yeah, it's pretty fun just to kind of be in this position, be able to put this stuff out there, and have a lot of people coming in and new faces again, just dropping in, and even older faces. You know, a lot of people have been around for a while, even through a couple of rebrands on this channel, and who keep coming back and commenting on the videos and letting me know what they think. It's always been a lot of fun, and I'm excited. This is going to be a really, really fun season. Again, as of me recording this, we're at 122 subscribers. Goal's 125, but if we're above 125, keep pushing. Let's go for 150. Again, I'm still out of town, so tomorrow you'll see Louisville, and then after that I'll be back in town and ready to get back going with Colorado after that. So really pumped, excited, looking forward to talking about the Cardinals tomorrow here on Armchair Analysis.